Good afternoon, folks. Now, this afternoon, see, there's a little narrative I wrote for you. Title is The Year We Stop Whispering About Aging, a narrative essay on the aging trends reshaping 2026. So, here we go with the presentation I made for you. Sit back and enjoy, please. The story of aging in 2026 doesn't begin. The story of aging in 2026 doesn't begin in a lab or in a lecture, a legislature. It begins in a kitchen. Picture an old woman, let's call her Ruth, standing at her counter in the early morning light. Her home is quiet, but not silent. A sensor beneath the floor registers her first steps of the day. A small device on her wrist notes her heart rates, her sleep quality, the slight tremor in her left hand. A soft chime reminds her to take her medication. None of this feels intrusive. It feels like a scaffolding. It feels like scaffolding, invisible, supportive, designed to keep her upright in a world that wasn't built with her in mind. This is aging in 2026, not a single trend, but a consolidation of them: technological, cultural, biological, communicable, or communal, each pull each pulling us toward a different understanding of what it means to grow older. The rise of predictive care. For decades, healthcare for older adults was reactive: a fall, a hospitalization, a crisis. Now, AI powered elder care is shifting the timeline. Instead of waiting for decline, systems anticipate it. Speech patterns hint at cognitive change. Gait speed predicts hospitalization risk. Wearables detect algorithms before symptoms appear. It is not magic, it's pattern recognition, finally applied to the people who need it most. And for families, this shift is Symptomatic. Adult children no longer wait for the phone call that begins with something happened. They see trends, nudges, early warnings. They intervene before the cliff's edge. Homes that care back. The home, once a symbol of independence, has become a partner in care. Smart aging in place technologies are no longer the gadgets, their infrastructure. Motion activated lighting, fall detection, flooring, voice activated appliances, and discrete sensors create a surveillance. For Ruth, this means she can stay in the house where she raised her children, where the wallpaper still holds the heights, marks of grandchildren. Aging in place is no longer a wish, it's a plan. The shift toward functional longevity. In 2026, the question is no longer how long can we live, but how well can we live? The rise of, the rise of functional longevity reframes aging as a practice, not a fate. Strength training classes fill with people in their 70s. Cognitive wellness programs are as common as book clubs. Communities invest in walkable streets, benches and green spaces, not as amenities, but as health interventions. Older adults aren't chasing youth, they're chasing capacity, the ability to climb stairs, remember names, cook dinner, drive to the lake, laugh without fear. Health span becomes the new frontier. Behind the scenes, geoscience is rewriting biology of aging. Sensologist, sense no logistics, anti-inflammatory therapies, and metabolic interventions are moving from theory to practice. The goal isn't immortality, it's dignity, it's it's fewer years spent managing chronic disease and more years spent living the life one chooses. For clinicians, this is a quiet revolution. For policymakers, it's a warning. The systems built for yesterday's older adults will not serve tomorrow's. Telehealth grows up. Telehealth in 2020 was a lifeline. Telehealth in 2026 is an ecosystem. Telehealth 2.0 blends virtual visits with real time biometric data at home, diagnostics, and AI supported triage for rural communities like so many in northwestern Pennsylvania. This is not convenience, it's access. Ruth's cardiologist can see her heart rhythm as clearly as if she were in the office. Her palliative care team can check in without asking her to drive 40 miles. Care becomes continuous, not episodic. Communities rediscover independence. The most surprising trend of 2026 may be the resurgence of intergenerational and community based support models. Villages, time banks, co housing, and neighbor to neighbor networks are expanding. Loneliness, once treated as an unfortunate side effect of aging, is now recognized as a public health threat. In Roostown, a college student stops by once a week to help with groceries. In return, Ruth teaches her how to make the pierogies her grandmother once made. Both walk away feeling less alone, a cultural reframing of later life. Perhaps the most profound shift is cultural. Aging is no longer whispered about, it is discussed, planned for, even celebrated. Purposeful aging reframes later life as a stage of contribution, rejuvenation, and meaning. Employers create flexible roles for older workers. Universities open their doors to lifelong learners. Volunteer programs tap into the deep well of experience older adults carry. Ruth, who retired from nursing a decade ago, now mentors young caregivers. Her knowledge, once undervalued, is suddenly dispensable. The thread that ties it all together. Aging in 2026 is not defined by decline, it is defined by agency. Technology supports, but does not replace human connection. Biology extends capacity, but does not erase vulnerability. Communities step in where systems fall short, and older adults finally are seen not as a burden, but as a resource. Ruth's story is not fiction. It's a composite of millions of lives, quietly reshaped by innovation, policy, and cultural change. It is the story of a society learning at last to honor the full arc of a human life. Okay, guys, I'm going to take a little break and I'll be back on with D. Okay, so give me a bit for D, please. And I'll be back on with that for you in a bit. For now, Gator Wellness, take care, folks.